Hello, everyone. Welcome to Betting Sports Better. I'm your host, the Sports Boss. Next to me is the man, the myth, the legend, Dre Ken. What's happening, my brother?
Nothing, brother. Nothing but the rent. That's it.
Nice. Let's talk about Tom Brady. Let's go right into it. What's going on with Mr. Tom Brady?
I think we finally found the kryptonite for Mr. Tom Brady, the GOAT. And it's no football player, it's no football team, it's no scheme, but it's none other than his wife.
I agree. I think she's definitely renting space in his head, and he'll be renting a space somewhere else beside his normal bed. That's for sure coming up. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe him and Aaron Rodgers been hanging out a lot. That's what it looks like on the field. What's your game of the week coming up that you like, man?
It's tough. I think I like that Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay-Baltimore game is the game that a lot of questions have to be answered. Is this really the end for Tom Brady? Or can the Baltimore Ravens hold a lead in the end?
Right. I believe a lot of people have been saying this week's Brady's week. Nobody can see that this is the end, which means last year was the end. This year hasn't even begun. I mean, he looked all right opening week against Dallas with Dak being out. You know, they held him to 3 points. Ever since then, if you look at it, the Bucs have beat Dallas, they beat Atlanta, and they beat the Saints. That's it. It's a struggling team internally. There's a lot of personal issues, obviously, you just highlighted on with Brady and his wife and the divorce. I think Thursday, everybody's going to back Tom Brady again. The spread was the Bucs minus 1.5. That's now switched to Ravens are laying 1.5, like a 4-point turnaround. What you think about the Philadelphia game? Philadelphia Phillies are playing, I believe, let me see where I'm at with that. The Steelers. That game's Sunday at 1 o'clock. What's your take on that, Dre?
Well, first thing, the Phillies will be on the baseball diamond, but the Eagles will be playing Pittsburgh. The Battle of Pittsburgh, you know, those right around each other, around the Philly area and the Pittsburgh area. Those guys are always having a knockdown, drag-out game. What I'm thinking this week, I think the Eagles, they stay undefeated because of the fact that who is going to be Pittsburgh's quarterback. Pittsburgh's quarterbacks, I think Pickett went down with a head injury, and now you're back with Trubisky. So I think the offenses will have to adjust again to Trubisky, and I think you can't be adjusting when you play the Eagles.
I agree. I think Philly's too fast. I don't know if I trust or think they're mature enough to be laying the 11.5 or 12 points. Talk about that game later on when I give out the picks. I think Philly's a tough team. They gain his speed each week. You know, covering 11.5 points, I don't know if the maturity's there to play, fifth gear the whole game. We'll see. Another game is the Sunday night game, I believe. That's the Bills, and speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the Packers. Bills at home hosting the Packers. What's your take on that?
It gets more frustrating. It gets uglier. The writings on the wall becomes more clear for Aaron Rodgers because they're going to come in. It's probably going to be cold in Buffalo, which is not a big deal for Green Bay because they're used to it. But that crowd, that offense, that defense, they are going to keep the Green Bay Packers in that loss.
That Bills Mafia, that's a crazy place.
Doubt.
What they do before the game and how cold it is, wearing no clothes and covering them with mustard and ketchup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's your Super Bowl pick, a future? Who do you think could be in the Super Bowl going into Week 8, Dre?
Super Bowl picks right now, if I had to pick. That's a tough one, bro. That's a tough one. I would probably think, let's go with KC on one side, and then we're probably going to go with, let's say the Eagles. I like what they're doing.
I got you.
I like what they're doing. I do.
Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City. That's the Super Bowl pick by Dre going into Week 8.
I like that.
I'll have mine coming up in just a little while. In fact, I think we're getting ready to take a break, and then we'll be right back with you folks. So remember, tune in to win. We're going to take a short break. Be back with Dre and the Sports Boss. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Betting Sports Better. I'm your host, the Sports Boss. We're going to go into a little bit about this past week. The spreads were tough. The lines were set pretty perfect by Vegas. A lot of bad beats that happened. The Miami Dolphin game is one that jumps out. Miami was given 6.5 or 7. The coach decides to go for it on 4th and 3 at his own 15. That game didn't come in. That was a bummer. The Jets came in solid. San Fran kind of laid an egg. Kansas City showed out in Levi Stadium. I think we're starting to see some contenders and pretenders separate themselves. Philly's definitely a team to, a force to reckon with. The Bills are a force to reckon with. Kansas City, a couple sleepers. Pittsburgh stands out as one. Pickett getting his steam under his belt each week, getting a little bit better. Steelers actually in Miami and South Beach, if they would have picked off either one of the four that they dropped, that game could have went the other way regardless of the spread. You'll start to see where the money lines are coming into play. Forget laying the points or taking them. Just picking a team to win and laying a little bit of extra juice on the ticket is going to be the way that I'll probably advise our members, and as well as the games that I'll play myself. The money line is going to be the correct way from week 8 all the way through the regular season. We had a lot of close games. Going into the last 3 weeks, a lot of games have been decided by 7 points or less. A lot of coaches are going for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. The outcome dictates if you got money on the team laying the points. Should have been an easy cover for what they're doing and going for it instead of kicking a field goal. A lot of 2-point conversion efforts going, unneeded 2-point conversions. Even 2 weeks ago with the Raiders and Kansas City game, kind of an unneeded situation. Game comes out landing on a half a point short. The money line would have cashed the ticket at the window with no problem. Coming up later on in the show, we've got myself and Mr. Andre Kendrick shop talking some NFL, last week's games, futures, get his opinion on who he thinks is going to be on the Super Bowl. I'll give my opinion out now. I got Dallas Cowboys playing in the Super Bowl against Buffalo Bills. Going into week 8, that is my pick, and I will stick with it. You won't hear me change it out. Dallas Bills Super Bowl in Arizona in February. Stay tuned. Remember, tune in to win, and if you're at a loss, watch the Sports Boss.